Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'll be detailing the 10 dumbest moments from Fear the Walking Dead. The entries in this video are in no particular order besides the number 1 spot. This video does contain spoilers from the show, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. In Fear's Season 5 premiere, the protagonists leave their home via a plane and crash land it attempting to save someone who had asked for their help over the radio. Luciana nearly dies in the process, getting impaled on a broken part of the plane, and they almost crash the plane into some unsuspecting kids who are roaming around in the woods below. When the protagonists do eventually arrive at the location to help the person who reached out to them via the radio, said person is nowhere to be seen. And that's because Logan, the person in question, lied to them. He told them he needed their help in order to get the protagonist to leave their home so that he could move in whilst they were all gone. Now I just have one question: how can Fear the Walking Dead's protagonist be this fucking stupid? It's the post-apocalypse, people are going to do whatever they can to survive. Why would you send pretty much your entire crew in a plane to help some randomer who reached out to you over the radio? At least do some research first. I mean, send a couple of people at most to the location to check if it's legit. Don't send 80 to 90% of your team and then leave your home defenseless. I mean, have these people never heard of scams before? I bet Morgan is the type of guy who actually fell for those hot single women in your area ads that you see online. In summary, these characters are morons. Every single episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 is full to the brim with stupid moments. However, for me, arguably one of the dumbest moments of the lot is when Strand kills Howard, his loyal lapdog. Since his introduction at the end of Season 6, Howard had been a complete simp for Strand, constantly at his beck and call. Howard is to Strand as to what Smithers is to Mr. Burns. He fucking loves the guy. In Season 7 Episode 12, John Sr. frames Howard as being part of the anti-Strand resistance group at Strand's tower. John does eventually come clean to Strand and admits to framing his sidekick, to which Strand responds by laughing and says, "Aha! You must have really wanted an audience with me to frame Howard," before then telling John to throw Howard off the roof to his death, to which he obliges, and then Strand employs John as his new right-hand man. What the actual hell? This is the dumbest move that Strand could possibly make. Killing your partner and then employing the man who framed him. Strand, you got this round the wrong way, mate. You're supposed to kill the man who framed your partner, not your partner. I have stumbled across some other Walking Dead YouTubers defending this by saying that they don't feel that Strand was acting out of character in this moment, but I strongly disagree because Strand was always portrayed as a clever dude during the first 3 seasons of this show. He was a guy who would always plan his moves and think about what he was going to do next and how it would benefit him. What does he have to benefit by employing John as his partner and killing Howard? Absolutely nothing, that's what. In fact, John ends up betraying Strand and escaping the tower the very next day, leading Strand to then employ Wes as his new partner, and then Wes stages a coup against him. So Howard was the only loyal partner that Strand had, and he killed him. What a fucking chambliss. That's right, I'm now replacing the word idiot with chambliss, as in to do a chambliss means to act like a moron. I think it might catch on. At the end of Season 4, the protagonists are poisoned by drinking tampered bottled water which contains antifreeze. This incredible villainous scheme was concocted by the greatest Fear villain ever, the Crazy Cat Lady, whose other grand supervillain scheme had her drawing on walkers with a Sharpie. I truly am so grateful that Season 4 completely ignores the Proctors who were introduced at the end of Season 3 so that we could get this woman instead. What a great decision. She truly is one of the best villains in TV history. 10 out of 10. Good stuff. Anyway, back to the poisoning. So the characters are all dying, at which point Morgan says, "Ah, wait, beer will save us," or something like that. And then the characters are magically healed by slowly sipping on some beer. Now, ethanol does in fact cure antifreeze poisoning, but you would need to drink a hell of a lot of it. I found an article from WND.com which describes how Scottish women accidentally drank antifreeze and then had to drink whiskey every hour for 24 hours to cure it. Now bear in mind that whiskey has an alcohol percentage of around 35 to 40%, whilst most beers are normally between 4 and 6%. And in Fear the Walking Dead we see the protagonists sitting around drinking 1 beer each whilst laughing and joking with one another. And yeah, this wouldn't work, they'd all be dead. In order to even stand a chance of surviving, these characters would have had to down cases and cases of beer each, like an England fan when the World Cup is on. Fear got this scenario completely wrong.
Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there?
I'm gonna need to get shit.
Anybody?
I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna need to get shit.
In Season 4 Episode 14, Morgan has a shit, and the writers thought it'd be important for us to see this act of pooing on TV. Now there's so many things on this show which happen off screen, with little to no explanation at all, but in Season 4 the writers thought we just had to see Morgan have a poo, and also later on in that season, we just had to see Jimbo have a piss. I really question their decision making skills. If you take the time to think about it, there's some really great symbolism to be found in this scene. I mean, the toilet bowl here, this symbolises Fear the Walking Dead. And here we have Morgan literally shitting on the show, shitting all over it and destroying it, flushing its stinky remains down the toilet. Actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. This is the best scene in the entire show. Fear the Walking Dead Season 5 Episode 9 is one of the worst episodes of TV I've ever had the displeasure of watching. The entire episode is filmed via a found footage perspective as we follow the protagonists on their epic quest to help people. In this episode, they help a mother whose kid needs a new inhaler. No, I'm not even joking, that's the plot of the episode. As this episode comes to its thrilling conclusion, it's revealed that all the footage that we've been watching is actually some kind of promotional video created by the protagonist to help promote their Unicef charity mission. Their promo video even has a little montage at the end in which all the protagonists stare directly at the camera, asking the viewers for help. Please donate £2 a week so that we can help the walkers of Africa. They're all starving because all the humans they eat over there are malnourished. Fucking hell, that was dark. Anyway, let's just think about this logically for a moment. This is the end of the world. Who is going to watch these stupid videos? It's not like you can just upload them to YouTube. Fear the Walking Dead does try to explain this away by saying that, well, the characters left copies of their videos in different truck stops in old VHS players. Okay, so all these truck stops conveniently just so happen to have electricity even though the world has gone to shit? Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. Also, why would anyone watch this 40-minute mess of a video? A promotional video should not be this long. Who has the time to watch this? I would have turned off after 10 seconds. What's even more nonsensical is that later on in this very season, the new antagonist Ginny, she makes a promotional video about how great her group is, which then causes the protagonist to then make a counter video exposing her group. Why is everyone running around with cameras pretending to be Louis fucking Theroux in the post-apocalypse? Why is everyone making documentaries? It doesn't make any fucking sense. In Season 5 Episode 3, an injured Dwight kills a walker which then collapses on him. Dwight is unable to push the walker off as two other walkers make their way towards him. John is in the same area as Dwight and instead of, I don't know, running to Dwight, pulling the walker off him and helping him up, he instead stays where he is and tells Dwight to raise his axe to the sky. John fires his gun at Dwight's axe which splits the bullet into two, killing the two approaching zombies. And I don't think I even need to say any more about this scene, it's just so ridiculously stupid. I mean, Fear started off as a serious drama about a family surviving a walker-infested world, yet here we have bullet-splitting antics. What the hell am I watching? How do you go about saying goodbye to Alicia, a fan favourite character, a character who's been on the show since the very beginning? Well, if you're these two morons, you make Alicia's final episode be an episode in which she spends the entirety of it talking to a hallucination of her younger self whilst following a CGI bird that is also a figment of her imagination. You also have her pass out every 5 minutes and then end the episode with her passing out on a beach with all her friends just abandoning her for some fucking reason, before then having her wake up and walking off into the distance to be never seen again. We found out that Alicia was bitten by a walker at the end of 7A, yet she somehow went on to survive for months after being infected, with no explanation as to how she did this. She spends much of 7B on the verge of death before somehow miraculously recovering at the end of episode 15. She somehow even managed to put makeup on her face while she was passed out, which is actually quite impressive really. As things currently stand, there's a lot of debate within the Fear the Walking Dead community as to whether Alicia is actually dead or not. Now, I thought she was dead when I saw this scene. I thought it was some kind of dream sequence because it didn't make sense to me that all of a sudden she recovered, but then again, nothing on this show makes sense, so perhaps she is still alive after all. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, this episode sucks and this is an awful send-off for one of Fear's original characters. Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg do not understand how radiation works, and despite not having the faintest idea about radiation, for some reason these two keep coming back to stories that either involve nukes or some kind of radiation threat. Season 5 features radioactive walkers which you can't get too close to because you'll die. Except Alicia gets splattered with a radioactive walker's blood, and nothing comes of it. Season 6 has Teddy launching some nukes, and Morgan survives a nuclear blast by hiding under a car. Makes sense. And finally, in Season 7, the characters have to navigate life in a radioactive hellscape, yet they are seen constantly walking around wearing no protective equipment whatsoever. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I swear, if Season 8 has the protagonist ending up in another radiation zone or encountering another type of radioactive walker, I'm gonna go insane. During Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 premiere, Morgan somehow runs all the way from Virginia to Texas, and according to Google Maps, that is a distance of 1,577 miles, and it would take 518 hours on foot to travel, and I assume it would take that long if you're constantly on the move, so that doesn't take into account resting, eating, and in Morgan's case, having multiple poos. I understand that Morgan is an experienced survivor, but this is a dude who doesn't kill. I find it hard to believe that he could make this entire journey without encountering some trouble along the way, but in the Season 4 premiere he magically makes his way to Texas. Also, what are the chances that Morgan would just so happen to bump into the cast of Fear the Walking Dead? It's got to be 1 in a million, right? Because this is a world without communication devices, so Morgan just so happened to stop at exactly the same place where the protagonist of Fear the Walking Dead happened to be. He encounters them by completely random chance, which makes the world of The Walking Dead, which makes the Walking Dead universe feel incredibly small. Then in Season 5, Dwight does the exact same thing, somehow travelling from Virginia all the way to Texas, and then bumping into Morgan and the rest of the protagonists. Now, look at the size of the US, just look at it. There's no way that two people who left Virginia at different times would bump into each other in another state that's 1,577 miles away, especially during a post-apocalypse where there's no long-range communication. It's not as if Morgan texted Dwight and was like, "Hey, Dwighty boy, come meet me in Texas for some all life is precious goodness." No! Morgan's crossover on the show didn't make any sense from the start, and since then the show hasn't made any sense either. Of course, the dumbest moment from Fear the Walking Dead is the beer balloon scene. Season 5A's story is centered on the protagonist attempting to fix their plane, which, as I already mentioned, was their fault that they crashed it in the first place. In Season 5 Episode 6, Strand stumbles across a poster promoting the Dead Jimbo's beer company, which has a picture of a hot balloon on it. Strand then disappears off screen to go to the same place, so that is on the poster I guess, and then when we next see him, he's travelling the skies with Charlie in a fucking hot air balloon, which conveniently was still at Jimbo's yard after all these years, and was still able to work as well. The beer balloon scene is just fucking atrocious. It destroyed whatever little credibility this show had left. I mean, remember back in Season 1, when Daniel was torturing a member of the army, trying to find out what they were planning? Well, now we have a show in which characters save the day by appearing in a fucking hot air balloon whilst cheesy music plays in the background. It's like something out of a Disney movie. What the hell is this? You've all heard of the phrase jumping the shark, well now I give you flying the balloon. This truly was the day that I realised that Fear the Walking Dead was a lost cause. What little hope I had been holding onto this show to recover was lost when I saw this ridiculous scene. It really is the worst scene of the lot. So that's the end of the video. Thank you all very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this list. Let me know if I've missed anything out. Let me know if there's any dumb moments that I forgot, that you would mention. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you all very soon. Take care. Goodbye.